fat loss has started to feel a little bit harder in midlife and you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, such as eating well and exercising and trying to stay consistent, but that belly fat is still hanging around like it's got no intention of leaving, then the thing that may be getting in your way could actually be your sleep. I know, sleep sounds almost a little bit too simple, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to give you 5 practical ways that you can improve your sleep quality. And when your sleep improves, a lot of other things start improving too, including fat loss and that stubborn midlife belly. Now, before we get into it, if you're new here to my channel, hello and welcome. My name is Jane Cleary. I'm a personal trainer, a qualified nutritionist, and a certified menopause coach in Sydney. And I spend a lot of my time helping women just like you navigate this slightly wild, occasionally ridiculous ride that we call midlife. I don't sugarcoat things because midlife doesn't need any more BS, but I do spend a lot of my time reading the research, speaking to hundreds of women all over the world, and translating the science into things that actually make sense in real life. Because let's be honest, most of us were given absolute zero briefing on what was coming with menopause. So if you're trying to make sense of what your body is doing these days, you're definitely in the right place. Now, let's talk about sleep, or more specifically, the mysterious disappearance of good sleep that seems to happen sometime in midlife. Because if you're anything like a lot of the women that I talk to each day, sleep used to be something that you didn't even have to think about. You simply went to bed, you slept, end of story. But now, one night you may sleep fine, but the next night you're awake at 2:17 staring at your bedroom ceiling. Then there's the classic 3 a.m. wake up where your brain suddenly decides that it's the perfect time to analyze every awkward conversation you've had since around 1994. Or you're waking up because you're suddenly hotter than the surface of the sun for no apparent reason. Does this all sound a little familiar? Now, here's why this all matters. I see a lot of women trying to lose weight in midlife, and they're doing all the right things. You know, they're being super mindful with the food that they're eating. They're exercising, lifting weights, going to the gym regularly. They're really trying to take care of themselves the best that they can. But they're also running on 4 to 5 hours of broken sleep most nights. And when progress feels slow, our natural instinct as women is usually to double down. Maybe I need to eat a little bit less, or maybe I need to do a little bit more cardio, or maybe I just need to try a bit harder. Meanwhile, your body's standing there quietly saying, "Girl, I'm exhausted." And the bit that often gets missed in this whole fat loss conversation is this: sleep doesn't just affect how tired you feel the next day. Your sleep quality can affect your hormones. It affects your metabolism. It affects your hunger signals. And it even affects what type of weight you lose when you're in a calorie deficit. Sound interesting? So let's unpack that a little bit more. Because when women say that they want to lose weight, what they're actually meaning is that they want to lose body fat. Now, they may not realize this, but they're not trying to lose muscle. Muscle, you see, is incredibly valuable in midlife. It supports our strength. It supports our metabolic health. It supports our bones. It helps regulate our blood sugar. And it helps keep us mobile and capable as we get older. But research has shown that when people diet while they're sleep deprived, something really interesting happens. That scale may still go down. So at first glance, it looks like your diet is working. But what researchers found was when they looked at body composition, what that weight actually consists of, a larger portion of that weight loss will actually come from lean tissue, including your muscle mass, which is not ideal for us ladies in midlife because losing muscle slows down our metabolism and makes long-term fat loss a lot harder. So if you're dieting, exercising, doing everything right, but your sleep quality is poor, your body is just not operating in the most helpful environment. Now, let's talk about why sleep gets really messy in midlife. A big part of this obviously comes down to our hormones. Estrogen plays a role in several systems that affect sleep. It helps regulate our body temperature. It interacts with our neurotransmitters in the brain that influence sleep cycles. And it helps support something called melatonin. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but it's really more like the body's signal that it says, hey, it's time to wind down. Your brain releases melatonin when it gets dark. Melatonin levels rise in the evening, helping your body feel, well, sleepy. And then they fall again in the morning when you need to wake up. It's all part of your what's known as circadian rhythm, or your body's internal clock. The problem is that as our estrogen levels fluctuate during perimenopause and then slowly decline after menopause, melatonin production can also change. And this means that the signals that used to guide our sleep, well, become a little bit more fuzzy. And when you add in your hot flashes and your night sweats into that mix, suddenly staying asleep becomes a whole lot harder. So if you've gone from sleeping like a rock to waking up multiple times during the night, well, you're not imagining it and you're not alone. Your body is navigating some really big biological changes. But here's the good news. There are some simple things that we can do to support our circadian rhythm and improve our sleep quality. And when your sleep improves, everything else tends to work better. Your energy improves. Your hunger signals become a little bit more stable. Your cravings will tend to decrease. And recovery from your exercise improves. And the most important thing, fat loss becomes a whole lot easier. So let me share the 5 things that can make a meaningful difference. These are the ones that I use. The first one is light. Your circadian rhythm is heavily influenced by light exposure. When light hits your eyes in the morning, it tells your brain that it's daytime. Now that signal really helps regulate our cortisol levels, our wakefulness, and the timing of melatonin release later on that night. So getting natural light in the morning, even 10 minutes outside with no sunglasses on, can help set your body clock for the entire day. Now, the second thing that we've got here is consistency, because your body loves rhythm. Going to bed at wildly different times every night can really disrupt your circadian rhythm. You don't have to be perfect, but having a fairly consistent sleep and wake window really helps your body settle into a predictable pattern. The third factor is caffeine. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, which is a chemical in your brain that builds up during the day and makes you feel sleepy. So, caffeine basically puts the brakes on that sleep pressure. The real problem here is that caffeine can stay in your body for 5 to 7 hours. So, that mid-afternoon coffee might still be influencing your brain when you're trying to fall asleep later that night. The fourth one is what I call giving your brain a runway into sleep. If you're answering emails or watching the conflict on maths every night or scrolling social media or working right up until bedtime, your nervous system stays in alert mode. Your body really needs a signal that the day is winding down. So dimming the lights, reading, stretching, or simply stepping away from screens can really shift your body into sleep mode. And the fifth one might surprise some people. Having a small amount of carbohydrates with dinner can actually support sleep for some women. Carbohydrates can help support serotonin production. Now, serotonin is a neurotransmitter involved in mood and relaxation, and it also plays a big role in the pathway that leads to melatonin production. So a balanced dinner with protein, fiber, and a small amount of carbohydrate can really help your body move into a more relaxed evening state. Now, here's the bigger picture. Trying to train hard, cut calories aggressively, and run on terrible sleep at the same time is a recipe for exhaustion and disaster. Your body still needs recovery. In fact, in midlife, it probably needs it more than it ever used to. And fat loss doesn't come from flogging yourself harder and harder while running on empty. It comes from creating an environment where your body feels relaxed so that it feels like it actually can function properly. So before you decide your metabolism is broken, before you slash your calories harder again, before you add yet another punishing workout, please ask yourself a very simple question. How's my sleep, really? Because sometimes the most productive thing that you can do for fat loss is to close the laptop, dim the lights, and go to bed. And if this video resonated with you today, please share it with a friend. Better yet, start the conversation with her. Talk about this stuff with your friends. Share what's working, share what's not. Share the wins and also the frustrations. Because far too many women are still quietly navigating this stage of life, thinking that they're the only one going through it. And, well, we know that they're not. Midlife can really feel like a bit of a shitstorm at times, but it's a whole lot easier when we can actually talk about it.